Hello everyone, today I'm working with the Beretta 92. Alright, so let's talk about what I'm doing there. Basically, the gun is in my holster, decocked, and what I'm doing is I'm doing a 3-shot string. So I'm coming out of the holster, joining, extending, okay, firing 3 shots. The first shot is double action, next 2 shots is single action. So I'm getting used to the transition from double action to single action. Okay, so that's the basis of that drill. And then I add in a little bit of moving around just to change it up and keep it interesting. I'm going to fire this out until the mag's empty, and then we'll talk a little bit more. Okay, let's do a little bit of distance shooting now in the back. So we're shooting at about 30 yards. Alright, so fun gun. It's one of my favorites. One of the things that I don't like about this gun is that Beretta says that every 5,000 rounds you have to change the locking block. And that's one of the reasons why I generally don't give this out to my trainees. Basically, I don't want to put more miles on the gun where I would have to, I would have to do more maintenance. So I more or less keep this gun to myself for my personal training, unless there's a specific need that I have to address with somebody, or maybe it's just somebody that, I don't feel comfortable with their, I don't feel that comfortable giving them a Glock or something with a lighter trigger pull, in which case I might give them a gun that has that decocker and has that stiffer pull. But for the most part, I keep this gun to myself. This one is, I think it's a special edition M9. It says U.S. Marine Corps here. I generally don't buy guns, fancy guns, but I basically just happened to be at the right place at the right time about 7 or 8 years ago, and I had the cash on me and I bought it. Okay, so that's how I ended up with this gun, and I really do like it. I like shooting it. Just the way that my finger falls on the trigger is very natural. I find that, like, for example, with the Glock, I have to make a little bit more of a conscious effort to work the trigger to keep the to keep the bullets going where I want them to go. I find it takes a little less effort with the Beretta. Okay. Now, one of the things that I do not like about the gun that drives me nuts, if you look at these screws over here, because basically these grips come off, and when I bought this gun, it came with the red grips on it, but then it had like black ones that you could put in its place, and I just kept the original red ones on because it made the gun stand out a little bit and look really cool, and the women love it when they come to to train with me. So I kept it that way. But one of the things that I find super annoying is that these screws that hold the grips in place keep falling out. And I've tried Loctiting it and stuff like that. And that's my main issue with this gun, that the those grip screws keep falling out. Even with the Loctite and all. So basically, there's one that's missing right there. So after I'm done with this video, I'm basically, I called up Beretta and they had them send me a whole bag full of screws, and as they fall out, I just replace them and Loctite them in. But this is a really cool gun. It's got that decocker, so that when you chamber the first round, basically your hammer's in the rear position, you decock it, push it back up. So for me, it's automatic, down and up, and then I holster the gun, ready to shoot. Okay, I don't keep the safety on while it's in the holster. To me, the safety is the fact that you've got that long trigger pull. Okay. Now, one of the cool things about the M9, okay, which is basically this the Beretta, in the military it's known as the Beretta M9, as the M9. it's the Beretta 92. It doesn't have the tilt barrel design that you'll see on Glocks, where basically the barrel drops down and then comes up to lock. If you ever notice the barrel tilted up slightly on your gun, that's Moses Browning design. That's the tilt barrel design. With the Beretta, okay, the barrel does not move. It comes straight back. It does not tilt. The locking mechanism, basically, if you look over here, you'll see that these two kind of hooks that come up, and they, on both sides. Okay, so these two hooks come up, and they provide a little bit of resistance to lock the barrel into place until the bullet has left the barrel, and then the pressure drops, and then basically the slide will come back. Okay, so that's an interesting feature of the Beretta 92 that makes it stand out from other handguns, and that's part of the reason why I think if you have a collection, this should be in your collection because first of all, it's a very successful gun. I mean, the military used it for a long time. Some people have told me that in the military they did have maintenance issues on the gun, which is not surprising since Beretta says you got to change the locking block every 5,000 rounds. And my Glock, for example, has 70,000 rounds on it. So, if you do the math, it's just not economical for me to be changing the lock. With the amount of shooting that I do, it's I don't want to be changing the locking block every 5,000 rounds. I can go through 5,000 rounds in a couple of months, or less. Sometimes I'll go through 5,000 rounds in 2 months. So that doesn't make any sense to me, which is one of the reasons why I don't shoot this gun that much. I mean, I still shoot it, but not that much. And I favor the Glock just because it's just less maintenance for me, and by there being less maintenance, I mean basically it's as far as training people, it's a more profitable gun for me to use. So that's why I use the Glock 17 most of the time. I do like the sights on the Glock better. They're just easier to find. I mean, I like the sights on the Beretta. I just wish they had found a way to make them a little bit brighter, because with the Glock, what happens? I come out of holster, and the sights are right there. I find I don't have to search for them. They're just right in front of me. With this one, I mean, it might be that it seems like it's faded. It had a little dot in there. I think I did touch it up at one point, but it's just I like the design, but it's just not as easy to use as the Glock sights. Okay, but I do love the Beretta design overall. And it's a gun that I think that any collector should have in their collection. So there are my thoughts on the Beretta 92. See you guys next time.